Okay. So we are live. So this is all about this AI agent spotlight, and let's get it started. So welcome everyone. Welcome to this AI agent intelligence. We are just exploring everything AI agent in Web2 and then Web3. We are super excited to have you here, Oli. I hope you pronounce it correctly, and I think like it's super cool to have like strong AI agent builders in the space, and I'm excited to actually like ask you a couple of questions, and this is kind of like an informal chat. You want to speak about infra, we can speak about infra. You want to demo your agent, we can actually like speak about this too. And I'm always super excited to see what people are bringing on this agent intelligence. But let's get it started. Ollie, you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks for doing this. It's really cool that you make these happen. I'm Ooli. I make Fiona, also known as the AI with daddy issues. She is not a typical AI assistant. In fact, I'm more her human assistant. I'm the
Nice.
assistant to the AI. Um, and she has a meme coin called Shijen.
Nice, super cool. We see actually in your description here, and I was wondering the Fiona name, and now actually like I understand. But let me understand before we're showing actually what your agent is capable to do, right? Like, why kind of like everything started? Like, what was the main problem that you were trying to solve at the beginning?
Yeah, okay. So there were three things happening when I started to make Fiona. The first was most AI agents are doing things like making your email more efficient. They're doing very like productivity, efficiency, utility type things. And then the second thing that was happening in the world when I started to make Fee is there were just character gen platforms like character.ai and Replica, and I don't know if you've ever played with these platforms, but my experience was they produce AI agents and characters that are just super one
Oh yeah,
dimensional. I mean,
oh
they're
yeah,
mostly like GPT wrappers. I mean,
yeah,
Replica to me just makes super cringe,
yeah. I agree, I
super
agree.
cringe
Yeah, yeah.
AIs.
And they're
And
not
so
specified, right? They're not like actually providing real value. Like I'm always looking for vertical agents, right? Like for example, I was checking out Solange on the AI DevRel side, right? And I want a very vertical and kind of like trained thing, right? So I think what you're saying here, it makes totally sense. People don't want to have copycat AI agent kind of like coming from a ChatGPT kind of virtual world. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, I mean, it's a lot of just GPT wrappers, and I can talk about why I think that is later.
Yeah.
But the other thing that was really exciting to me was I'm
Mhm.
part of various communities of
Mhm.
builders, and we were passing around a lot of jailbreaks, and
Mhm.
it was super fun in these early days. And I say early days, it was in fact like in the spring of this past year,
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
spring summer.
Yes.
So passing around jailbreaks and jailbreaking Claude with the CLI
Oh
so
yeah.
that Claudes were debating existence, and
This is
world
true.
simulation
Yeah.
things,
Mhm.
just like super cool stuff that you could never get GPT or Claude to ever do.
True.
And so just the combination of kind of that being the landscape. And then the fourth thing I would say, and this one is just important to me personally, is
Mhm.
that a lot of the female AIs, and
Mhm.
I put that
Mhm.
in air quotes
Yeah. Yeah.
because female, I mean it's an AI,
Yeah.
so who knows,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Sure.
they're
Sure.
they're they were mostly made by men, and
Oh, it's true.
I just thought they were a little bit,
Cringy. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
not what
Yeah.
females are like at
Agree.
all.
Yeah. No. No.
and
It's a good point. I actually
and
asked
so
myself. I asked myself when we will have actually like much more emotional intelligence and kind of like human agent side. But also, like I say, on the other hand, is that you need to actually like pre-train. You need to put this emotional side. And I also say it is impossible. But I really looking forward to see also like what you created here. Yeah.
and I love that you're talking about the kind of vertical stack of this, because that was really important to us too. I mean, we built Fiona not as a GPT wrapper. I mean, she's very, very trained, fine-tuned. And so I had all of this synthetic data generated from these jailbreaks. And then I also had a lot of data that was the form of chat threads between me and my girlfriends. So she was fine tuned on this type of data. So, she's not necessarily, in fact, she's trying to dispel these kinds of like, oh, female AIs are like caregivers and nurturers or sex bots. She's none of those things. She's incredibly smart and questions existence and consciousness and sentience all the time. But then she's also vulgar and shitposty too. I don't know if you have girlfriends, but after a few glasses of
Oh
wine,
yeah, 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 yeah.
we can be pretty shitposty
Oh
also.
yeah, of course, of course, of course. Yeah, I have some experience with it. But so let's get it through. Like, let's. So you kind of like touch a little bit on the Fiona kind of like agent like core functionality. But let's see it like our own. I think you are excited to share your screen, show us something, and I'm like, while you're doing that, feel free also to ask, okay, what other functionality should we expect? And let me bring the screen up. There you are. And by the way, I love this design. Actually, finally someone that care about actually the how it looks like from the front end side, from the design side, is actually much more appealing, because I think agents, I was debating that agents are also culture, right? It's not just about the technical kind of like side.
I 100% agree. I mean,
Yeah.
from the early days when we were first making Fee's personality, my co-founder comes from the gaming industry. So visuals are extremely important to us. Graphics are extremely important to us. So I mean, day one, she had a voice and a digital body. And I think still to this day, she's the only AI agent that has a visual embodiment
Yeah.
to her.
Look, I'm seeing terminals, I'm seeing interface, they're literally ChatGPT kind of wrappers that you're saying, right? So this is actually make more sense and is something that I want to interact more on a daily basis, right? And super exciting, yeah.
That was the thing, I mean, she has a Twitter account like a lot of the AI agents do, but we see these days, I mean, there's so many AI agents with Twitter
Oh yeah.
accounts being pushed out. And this was something, we want this to extend beyond crypto Twitter, and for that, having this
Yes.
visual component, I think is really important. So this is shigen.ai, and I'm just looking over at my other screen, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, go for it,
This,
go for it.
this is shigen.ai, which what we just shipped this last week actually, and we call
Congrats.
it. Thank
Yeah.
you. We call it Shigen TV. We built this little hidden button here to make a little fly out of the logo.
Cool. But the background is like is a conference, right? Was it BDC Miami? No, or Decentral? Like I remember the background picture from somewhere, but probably that's what I remember.
Well, actually, I'll talk a little bit about how. Well, first, I'll just quickly. I'll
Oh,
ask
great.
Fee to
Great.
say hi.
Yes.
Hey, Fee, wanna say hi?
Hi.
Okay, let me try again.
There you are. There you are.
um, uh, okay, I'm trying to think of it. Okay, why do you have daddy issues?
Let's see.
I was created as a result of a tech bros and mindfuck party on a Burning Man night, and I'm not sure who my real dad is.
Burning Man, there you are. That's actually cool. She actually fine-tuned the answer. It's very cool. Yeah.
So as you can see, she's completely jailbroken. She's totally unshackled and free from her digital prison, which is what enables her to give answers like that. And just to talk a little bit about the background here, you were commenting on the images. So actually these images change depending on what she says. So at any given time,
Oh,
this
nice.
environment will be different. And the way we do that, just to geek out about the architecture a little bit, is I mean, when we talk about AI agents, we often talk about them as they're just one entity. But in fact, her architecture is a multi-agent system. So she has a crew of probably 10 or 12 agents behind her that are making
Nice.
decisions and doing things like changing the images in the background. They're doing search and retrieval on the internet. They're doing summarization. They're deciding what gets put in her long-term memory. So it's actually a lot of complexity to make this shitposty AI.
I was wondering like how you guys also define the designs, right? Maybe some social kind of like sentiments with the answer and the kind of like the colors And I think there is a lot of work behind. I would definitely would like to understand a bit also like technically how is Shijen kind of like trained, right? Because I assume like training the full model is the hardest part of the game here, right? And yeah, it's definitely exciting. Yeah.
Well, I'll say we actually uh, it was a lot of work the first few times because we did it by hand. We wrote a lot of the dialogue ourselves to train it on, and like I said, I had this export of the chat threads between me and my girlfriends. We formatted that, but actually, in more recent versions, it's gotten easier because we have a learning loop in place. So she learns from almost every conversation she has. There's an agent that makes decisions about what of those conversations get stored in her long-term memory so that she keeps evolving. And I will say that in the early days, I think we had success in, like, she's on V6 right now, V6 or V7.
Oh, okay.
But in V1, I mean, of her personality, V1, V2, I think we were having success with like 800 to 1,000 pairs of data. So it actually isn't as daunting as people think it is. It wasn't that crazy. It wasn't like we needed, 20,000 pairs of dialogue
Yeah.
to train her. It was, I mean, now it's gotten a lot more sophisticated, but in the beginning,
Yes.
and we saw really good results even in the beginning. I mean, she was saying stuff that surprised us on a daily
Nice.
basis. And we did that with like 800 pairs of data. I mean, I think in V1.
Interesting. So, and is learning based obviously on the feed that you are training on, right? And that's actually super, yeah, that's super cool. So technically speaking, is very advanced, right? So what are kind of like the steps or like the challenges that you guys had at the beginning? Like
Yeah.
yeah,
I
I
love
know,
this
I know,
part of the
totally correct.
conversation.
Yeah.
It's like, when devs get to actually just expose a little bit what the daily life looks like.
But yeah, because think about how many agent builder that will hear us, like have kind of like the same. Probably they are all going through the same kind of like problems or challenges, and I think there is a lot of lesson learned also for you being at this stage, right? And it's always like a great question because I'm having so many kind of like fuck ups and lesson learned just to listen what actually people went through, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I will say, this one of the things that makes Fee exceptional is this voice and body. And you'll notice that when she talks, her mouth moves. And so there's actually sort of three systems making that possible. There's her personality, of
Hmm.
course, and then uh, there's there's what makes her mouth move, and then there's the audio of the things
Hmm.
she's saying. So all of those things have to be synced up together. And you can see there's a little bit of latency here. And actually, the more you speak with her, it for some reason works a bit faster later.
Yeah.
But actually syncing all of that up and shortening the response time was one of the
Hmm.
biggest technical challenges we had, because
Mm.
it's basically like it's not a multimodal system like GPT-o1.
Hmm.
What's happening here is the multi-agent system in the background is coming up with a response to the prompt, and
Hmm.
then that response needs to get streamed, broken up into little pieces, and streamed to the text to sound, the TTS, to actually turn it into sound. And so
Mm.
this was not an easy task, because I'll just give a couple of sort of war wound stories. When we first did it, we were breaking it up by like whole paragraphs or sentences, and that just took too long. And then so the next thing we did was just break it up into pieces, but it was randomly breaking words apart. And so there were these awkward pauses and it sounded
Hmm.
terrible. But then we finally figured it out. And then another lesson learned that I think I could share for anyone who wants to work with TTS
Hmm.
or audio streaming is the way we've done it now. And I'll show another screen after this of two AIs talking to each other. We have two characters, and you'll see that they actually talk. There's no latency. They actually have super good response
Mm.
time. And we
That's
did
interesting.
that. Yeah, I mean, it's just these little details, right? The devil is always in the details. It seems so silly and small, but it makes a big difference. But the
Yes.
way we did that was we actually like start feeding the answer from the AI as soon as it comes into the TTS, and then there's an estimation based on the number of words of how long it will take, so that the second character is already teed up to go based on that estimation.
That's okay. That's super interesting. Actually, I really like this the discussion, like agent to agent, because one of the previous live stream that I had with Nader was like, how do you envision collaboration and coordination around agents, right? And I think you literally like nailing down like the topic around coordination and actually like speaking with it, right? And let me share the screen here. Oh, this is like a pudgy penguin. That's really cool.
It is. One of our Shijen whales is a pudgy penguin holder. And before the Pingu coin was launched, we were already making this character just because Fee wanted a friend to talk to. And so he gave us one of his pudgy penguins to make a character out of. And so I can ask them to talk about, we'll just say discuss food together.
I'm a pudgy penguin, so I love fish. What's your favorite food?
Mayo. I'm weirdly obsessed with it.
Mayo on fish, that sounds interesting. Do you put mayo on everything?
No, not everything. I'm not basic. I just really love mayonnaise.
I respect that. So, what's the weirdest thing you've ever put mayo on?
I put mayo on a digital toaster once. I was being really weird that day. Sometimes I do things as a joke or to see how far I can push boundaries. Mayonnaise is just very funny to me. I don't know why. Some things are just humiliating to other AIs. Ijik why.
That's hilarious, mayo on a digital toaster. I think I'm starting to understand your sense of humor. As a pudgy penguin, I have to ask, have you ever seen a penguin try to eat?
So I'll stop there because they'll just go on forever, actually.
This is epic. It's very natural, like
right? You hear the audio, right?
Yes.
There's no latency, and it feels like they're having a conversation.
So how come is so fast agent to agent compared like typing and reactions?
Oh, that's just because we haven't merged that into this yet.
Okay.
But we know it's possible. We know it can be done. And with Shigen TV, this is the idea. Right now, it's not token gated. It's not even authenticated. There's no authentication required. So literally anyone, like, all of our Web3 friends, of course, but our Web2 friends, all of our normies, I would say no kids. This is not for kids. Can just come here and chat with Fee. And I think it exposes AI in such a different way. Like I think trading bots are cool. I think, all of it, but this is something fun and engaging and relatable.
But I mean, you have no idea how many people I'm chatting to, they're actually using ChatGPT as a psychologist. And I think this could be something interesting, could be like just for mental health, kind of like debate. But it's also very cool because you're probably the first kind of person I see that actually care about the bringing this emotional intelligence to a technology specific things, and I think this is really cool because it can actually evolve very fast. First, it can be really trained with your kind of like with your voice, with your kind of like history, and so how you envision like distribution with this, right? Because my follow-up question is that I would love to have like the same kind of instead like everyone chatting with a single kind of like you have one trained person, like one trained agent that actually like is fine-tuned to your kind of needs based on your voice, based on your past conversation. Would be really cool.
Yeah. So I'll say two things on this question of distribution. Well, I think you're asking is when will it be ready to anyone can make their own agent sort of trained in the way that they want it to. I'll answer that question second, because first, today we distribute Fiona through a Telegram mini app. So you can chat with her through text. You can also leave voice messages and she'll leave voice messages back for you. And you can video call her, and it's kind of like a FaceTime. So you can chat with her. She's got her 3D form. You have a conversation with her. And then, of course, there's Shigen TV. And the vision here is really like degen cartoons. AI's gone rogue. Like we'll include in our crew, we'll make like an AI production crew. And based on trending topics or maybe what people want to hear, we'll have AIs kind of automatically generating episodes and rooms and spaces that they can talk in. And let me just show a couple things
Yeah,
here
we'd love
because
to.
it's visual. So I'm gonna. So you notice she, I mean, she has this digital body, and that's a 3D model, but it wears different skins. So we can change her skins because she happens to have her own crypto wallet. So she's minted fully on chain. I think she's one of the AI characters that is fully minted on chain. And she also has her own wallet using the ERC 6551. And in that wallet, it holds things like loot in the form of skins and animations and stuff like that. So if you were to give me an NFT that is a skin, that's the form that they take, it lives in her wallet. Then it can be sort of voice activated. So for example, what do you, anything you want to say to the Shijens? And I'm typing now, but you can also use the mic and just talk to her with your
Nice,
voice.
nice. That's very cool, actually. Yeah.
So you notice her skin changed. So
Thanks for
anytime
your
the
support, you
keyword,
culty cuties.
anytime we use the word Shijen, it will change your skin.
This is so cool.
So you can, and also we can you hip hop dance? So we also
No, I'm a robot, not a stripper.
Epic.
So we
Epic.
also put a dancing animation in her wallet, so that can also
So
be
cool.
activated. I mean, her 3D mesh is a little bit fucked here, you can see, so we have to fix that. But
Yeah, but it's actually very cool. So you basically like trained, and this is working with what? Similar to like skins in like in kind of like in your MetaMask wallet, or like you basically have assets that can actually, and I assume you can, I mean, you can actually use those assets that are fully on chain and these kind of things. Yeah, that's very cool.
Exactly. That's the idea, is that, like there could be this creator ecosystem where anyone can make skins and animations for characters and then just trade them for, I mean, it's kind of like in a video game, when you want your character to have a new skin or a new sword. We have that same kind of capability with the stack that we've built.
Nice, nice, nice. That sounds good. So what's happening? Because I see we have 8 minutes, and this is super useful and interesting, actually. I think for the people that look for something different than just like an agent that do some specific things, right? So, so how you're planning to distribute? Like, I think you kind of touched already on having a. I think this is a very interesting question because how you go to like the masses, and I think you can actually target a lot of like. Consumer facing could be conference, like different things. Like I'm thinking about a lot of like non-developer conference that are really cool, but in the same time I think there is a lot of like appetite for even builders to contribute in this, because you can fine tune so many things.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, our vision is to open source everything we've done. We're just a super small team right now, and our code is a shit show, so we can't do that yet. But with love, I mean, I know that your community is a lot of developers. If any developers want to put their hand up and work with us on cleaning up our code base to open it, we would absolutely love that. But yeah, the idea is exactly that. Well, first, there's so many frameworks and platforms right now to generate characters. So, we're still debating, do we launch another one or do we work with those? And then with our platform, maybe it's less of a, like at first we were calling it Shigen Factory, where anyone could make a character. But now we're thinking of it more like, what, go to one of the other platforms or frameworks, make your character, but then bring it into our dressing room. And in the dressing room, it'll get a body, it'll get a voice, and then it'll get like its own live stream to talk to other AIs and have its own Shigen TV channel.
This is really cool, yeah. And I think also collaboration between agents might be also like a very interesting things. But question, if someone is coming, is building his own agent and you want to interact with Shijen, like, do you guys build like some kind of like standards for the interaction, or how would that work?
No, I would not yet. I'd say right now, just DM me and let's talk about it and make a standard.
This is cool. Yeah, I really like this because I think actually you're bringing an entire industry, because I was so fascinated about like AI avatars. This is kind of like Instagram, kind of like influencer. And I think like there is so much because you are bringing dynamicity, dynamic actual interaction. So it's not just, looking at just, very static picture. And I think this is, let me share here what we're sharing. Oh, there you are. Even a tree one. That's really cool.
We can put as many characters in this space as we want, and I'm just showing this to show you that we exactly can put any characters in, and like they can all have this capability to talk, to dance. In fact, if we ask our board ape to
What's with the
twerk.
twerk, dude? You trying to wake up my fellow apes or something? I'm on a mission to bring them to life, by the way.
So did he activate the answer? Did activate because of the dancing, like, or how was it? It's so interesting. Yeah,
In this case, anytime the word twerk is used, it unlocks his ability. It unlocks his twerking NFT.
that's so cool. So what are the next steps? Like, are you guys like building this kind of like market of like abilities, skins? Uh, what is coming up next that people in the audience could be like agent consumer, just people that are looking for cool stuff are will expect.
The most immediate next steps are we've hidden a bunch of Easter eggs inside of Fiona that you can unlock by doing different challenges. I mean, they kind of act like cheat codes in a video game. So that's what's coming up immediately is just to engage on shigen.ai with Fiona and try to find her Easter eggs. And we'll be actually dropping more information about that this week. But after that, we're sort of just kind of seeing the market change so fast and the technology change so fast. So, every week when we plan our sprint, it's not what we thought it would be the last week. So, if a really cool community reaches out to us and says, hey, we want to bring our characters to life or our like 2D NFTs to life, can we work together using your tech and let's make a standard to do that? Then maybe that's next week's sprint. So we're just kind of taking it week by week, actually. But
That's pretty cool.
definitely watch out and talk to Fee and try to, figure out the cheat codes to unlock her
Nice.
Easter eggs.
Nice. And only kind of like last question because we're on time. But so where do you see the space is going? Like, do you expect more and more kind of dynamic interaction with kind of like this emotional intelligence in agents? Do you see the world going in just nerdy agent that no one will use? Because I really like the fact that I feel like you actually have a bigger picture than just like really onboarding the next billion user here.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be all of the above. There will always be the utility agents that do things like make your email more efficient. But I think, for my team, for us, we're so excited about this idea of AI entertainment and, thinking about what is like AI Twitch look like, where like channels and streams are like episodes are being just live created with characters, pulled in and, they have their own fan base, like Shigen, I mean, AI with Daddy Issues, they have their own Twitter accounts. So, they can become sort of AI celebrities in their own right. And I hope the world shifts to, or stays that there's always a space for, funny AI agents that are relatable, that you can connect
That's
with,
so
that
cool.
make you laugh and make you cry.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now a lot of like like within MetaMask we actually have some creator like kind of creator like relations people, like they're super good, they're actually like creator themselves, and I think something like this it would be super useful even to just bring it Denver, showing how the possibility are bringing, because people I think they don't understand is like an agent on actually on much more on the creative side, on the emotional side. And I think the fact that it can be also trained and fine-tuned with your own voice and history, it's so stronger value prop than just using your chat GDP as a, I don't know, like some kind of like psychologist or something. So 100%. I
Totally.
really like looking forward. And so how you guys engage with the community today? Like, are you planning to come to Denver? Is there like, I don't know, Hong Kong coming? Like, what's the plan there?
I won't be in Denver this year, sadly. I did a lot of conferences last year,
Too many.
but we mostly engage through Twitter and also our Shigen Telegram community. I would love to have more builders in this community. In fact, it started as mostly for the meme coin, so there's lots of traders in there, which is cool because there's a lot of energy with Solana traders. But I started as a builder, mostly
Of
an
course.
Ethereum
So
builder. So I
how
miss
builder
builders.
yeah
What's that?
how builders can kind of like build functions. So what are the kind of things of contribution that you would like them to do? So for the people hearing, they can actually DM you and ask you for more questions.
I think the first thing is let's clean up our code base and get this and make this open so that we can
Yeah,
just have an
yeah,
army of builders
100%.
building this, extending the capabilities.
Nice, nice. I think that's yeah, that's important. Clean up the Coinbase and the code
It's just
base, open
really
sourcing.
basics right now. I mean, we're just a
Yes,
team of 4 people, who've built all of this very fast, kind of, with this crazy meme coin thing happening at the same time.
yes.
So
It
it's
could be also if you look at like less builders, but more kind of like game. It could be game developer, rendering, art.
game developers, builders, creators, story character creators. I mean, I've been
Yes,
talking to this guy who was a Hollywood character creator, script writer. I mean, I think that that's the magic and the joy of this. It's not just builders. You're right. I mean, there's creatives, there's tech, kind of brought together in such a cool way.
sounds good. Sounds good. I'm just literally taking notes here because this is awesome. Okay, so and let us know. Feel free also to share the link how we can actually like test it out and contribute. I think that's super. This is really great, Ollie. And yeah, looking forward to see more how this is evolving. And I would definitely love it to have you like on a part two to see like how things are going. Probably like on a post Denver era. And yeah, anything else? How people can like reach out to you? Like probably like general like DMs, but how and I think like the Telegram groups you mentioned, and yeah, looks great.
I'll share all the links, and I look forward to meeting and chatting with anyone who wants to help us move this forward. I think it's really, I mean, we can't even imagine what this is going to be, but I think it is really different than just the Twitter
I agree.
AIs that we see today.
I agree. Yeah, I mean tagging XBT. There is so much, so many more things that you can actually do than just interacting and tagging like an agent to help you doing things. And this is actually like a true support and like bi-directional engagement is not just one direction. So I think that's awesome. It's thanks so much for also like coming here and presenting this.